Welcome to our conference call with the person behind the Boeing project, the Skynet POGs. We have today with us Sam Foster. He's from...
Hey.
Hello. He's from the Skynet, which is an initiative of the International Center for Radio Astronomy Research, a joint venture of Curtin University and the University of Western Australia. We'll proceed now to the questions template. Welcome. Hello, everybody.
Yep.
So, Sam, could you tell us a little bit what the Skynet project is doing?
Yeah, sure. Right. So, what we're trying to do with POGs, is we have various radio telescope surveys, such as the Pan-STARRS surveys and the WISE surveys. And what they do is they collect the electromagnetic emissions from distant galaxies. And what we can do with those emissions is we can run them through various processes to work out the mass of stars, the mass of dust, the amount of metal, and those sort of like properties. We can work out those properties of those galaxies. And so what we're basically trying to do is just build a big sky atlas of all the galaxies that are visible from where we are. And of course, because there's a lot of processing to do, that's why we've chosen BOINC to do our distributed computing stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's the crux of it.
Mm-hmm. And do you do also processing besides other other things than BOINC users? I mean, like from university side, for example.
Well, on other projects, yeah, but on BOINC, all of our on POGs, all of our processing is done over BOINC. So it's only BOINC that we use for that. Yeah.
Well, that's very good because it gives then BOINC users special importance. You know that they are really doing some good thing. Yeah. Cool. Probably you are also publishing the results or gonna publish the results, yeah? Did you publish yet, or your teams, did they publish something already?
To my knowledge, I think there have been a few papers that have been published. I think they were quite a few years ago, like back in 2013. I'm not aware of any recent ones, although to confirm I'd have to talk to our other project guy about it, because he may have something coming up soon that he's going to publish. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. Yeah, my question was then directed to how do you address or how do you contribute the BOINC users' contribution? Like, you can ask then the other colleagues, like if they do it in a general form, like, we thank all BOINC users or something like that. That was the intention with it.
So what in terms of how we reward people for doing work? Well, on one of our websites, we do have like a trophies system that when you've done a certain amount of work, you get awarded various sort of levels of trophies. You start with some low-level ones and you can sort of work your way up. And then we also provide things like stats tracking, see how many galaxies you've processed. And then we also let users generate reports of their galaxies so they can have a look at them. That's probably the most we do to reward users, apart from, of course, thanking them all for all the amazing work they're doing.
Yeah, and of course, since Skynet is whitelisted in Gridcoin, they also get a reward over the coin. So basically, you are also enabling this automatically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't actually aware of that.
Yeah, we can talk in the later part,
because
now we focus on the project itself, but later we can talk more about this in the second part.
Of course.
Yeah, so do you already have some ideas how long this project, the Skynet POGs project, will run? I mean, you said there is a lot of data, so an estimate perhaps like 5 years, 10 years, or even longer?
To my knowledge, it's pretty much an ongoing thing. I don't think there's a designated end spot. We'll continue processing as long as we're still getting data coming through. So as long as there's still the radio telescope surveys happening, we'll probably still have stuff to process. So it's it's certainly ongoing.
Good, perfect. Do you know about your the applications for BOINC, the work units, which are sent out? Is there some kind of recommendation you can give about, so like this application runs better on Linux? Yeah, or for example, or it runs much better on certain processors like Intel, AMD, or something like that.
To my knowledge, it doesn't run better on any platform. I mean, it'll work on any platform. It'll work on most Linux ones. It'll work on Mac, and it'll also work on Windows. And then we have an Android arm as well. Although I think at the moment, if I had to recommend one to not use, it would be Android, because there's a few problems we've been having with that. But no, it runs fine on any computer. It'll run fine.
Okay, good. Cool. Let's switch a little bit to the Boeing server itself.
Yeah.
When your server didn't have working units anymore, yeah, what were the most problems causing it? For example, like a hard disk crash, or you didn't have much more RAM on the server?
We have had a couple issues occasionally. Like at one point, one of our hard drives did fill up, and we had to empty it out. That was a few years ago at this point, though. But recently we've had fairly consistent work units coming through. I think the only time that we actually stop getting work units is if we're like waiting for the next survey to finish, normally.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't tend to get many server issues that cause us to stop processing or anything.
Yeah, that's good. It makes your project quite reliable. Then the Boeing users can just let their machines run, and just check from time to time.
It's pretty funny when you said a few years there. It just hit me that you guys have been around for a few years, because I remember when you guys started. Oh yeah, it's been a while now. Yeah.
It has been quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow.
So, how many users do you have at the moment?
Well, in terms of users we actually have registered, we have like about 400,000. But in terms of people that are actually doing something, we have about 50,000 users that have registered that have like actually done work. The others are all spam accounts that we're currently trying to filter down. Yeah, so we're working on that.
Yeah, that's a general issue with also other Boeing projects.
Yeah.
We've heard.
Sam, do you have some, as an experienced Boeing administrator over the years, do you have some hints to new Boeing admins? So you should avoid using non-SSD hard disk or something like that.
Oh, well, that's certainly a given. SSDs are certainly much better. We always use SSDs in all of our Amazon servers. In terms of tips, though, I mean, I sort of only took up this project probably about 6 or so months ago. So, to be honest, I'm still quite a young Boink admin. But one thing that I've definitely noticed that's been really important is trying to stay on top of issues that pop up, and definitely keeping in contact with the community, just so that they know that there's still someone there and there's still stuff going on. Because for quite a few months we had one of our previous administrators left, and then a lot of our message boards had no one responding to anything on them, But then when I came in and I started actually responding to questions, and when people were talking about things, I'd chip in. I noticed a lot of people were saying, "Oh, good! It's good to see the project hasn't died," that kind of stuff. So I'd say definitely keeping in contact with the community is probably the most important thing that I've come across so far.
Yeah, also from a Boeing user, it's not reassuring when you don't get an answer on your problem, and then you think, perhaps my research is not contributing anyway, and then you just leave normally. Yeah. That's important. Sam, for Skynet POGs, does it need some help? Yeah, I mean, let's say from Gridcoin or other groups, any kind of help, be it like, monetary or hardware donations, or, want for certain tasks to be done something. Is there something the people could help with?
Well, I think the main thing at the moment that we would need assistance with would be just troubleshooting and solving some of the problems we've been having, like particularly the Boink problems. Because there has been one notable one that I sort of almost hinted at earlier with our Android systems. For some reason, the project keeps trying to reserve like huge amounts of hard disk space on the Androids, and I haven't been able to work out why that's happening. So maybe some more experienced eyes, like people that have been doing Boink projects for a bit longer, like a bit of help from them would be quite helpful, especially in helping me fix some of these latent problems.
what I can do is I can write an article with a call to help you. You know, like as you stated that there are Android problems, and then we can lead the. Perhaps you can give me before the links to the thread so that they don't have to search, and then they could immediately dive in and perhaps find something. Yeah, we can bring more attention to it, definitely.
If there are people that are interested in helping, by all means.
Oh, we love helping, man.
Most of our source code is all open source up on GitHub anyway. So if anyone wants to have a look at what we're doing, they're more than welcome to. I can provide a link for that if you need.
Okay, yeah, we can figure this out later. And it personally, I like when the working units and so are or anything, is open source. It gives the project more trust, because in the end you never know what kind of application would perhaps run on your system. So, and if you have the chance to review it, it's perfect. Okay, let's continue with the topic about the security. I'll mention some examples and then you can select and dive in, about SSL implementation, about using VirtualBox applications, or working unit protection like spot checking, replication, tracking trust of workers or reputation of workers, or issues with spammers, which you mentioned. So this is now a segment about security, and then you can tell something about these, please.
Okay. So when I was having a look through the questions before, the security ones did catch me almost a little bit off guard, because at the moment the main things that we have are just the sort of inbuilt BOINC security systems, the ones that it provides. So it's like the code signing for our applications to make sure that when they're sent out that the correct code is being executed and someone isn't injecting executables like bad ones that get run on our client machines. But other than that, it's all just the inbuilt BOINC stuff. So if there's any sort of more preferable systems out there that we could get installed, I mean, I'm all ears for hearing about that. That actually sounds really good. Yeah,
we've been talking about all types of weird decentralized BOINC servers, and Custom Miner has some fun posts about things about BOINC Docker containers and things like that. I don't know if that interests you.
Well, what you could do is already immediately in a fast manner is make HTTPS, SSL. There is a Let's Encrypt, and Custom Miner cannot speak, but he has done it, and it says it's fairly easy, if you are familiar with normal, administration or so. It shouldn't take too much time. And the thing is, with the SSL, you protect your users immediately, because otherwise, if there is no SSL, there could be a man-in-the-middle attack, and for users who use, for example, BAM, this is an BAM account manager, losing the password will also give then the hacker access to all other BOINC projects, so it's quite sensible information. So I'd say from all these which I mentioned, immediately and with a good effect is this SSL, HTTPS. I mean, you can look which providers are out there, but if you look for, let's say, a cost a not so expensive one but still good one, this is the Let's Encrypt, But then there are also others, which want money and probably give a little bit more service or features or something like that, But a Custom Miner says looks like POGs has HTTPS. No. So what? Let me check.
Oh, well, if it does already, that's good then.
Oh, wait, let me check. So, HTTPS. Yeah, it works through it, so it's good.
Well.
Yeah, so.
All right, well, there you go. Excellent. Yeah, no problem.
Perfect.
Well, good job.
Yeah, that's important. That's important.
During the interview, even.
Okay. Well, that's good, because then that means our previous guy must have set it up then, which is excellent.
Well, but when I look at the main page, when the BOINC page, when the part join the Skynet POGs, you are still advertising only the HTTP, So it has to be checked, but if the HTTPS works, you should, you guys should replace the HTTP link in the main page, because they will normally, the users just double click and copy paste. I don't know which link the BOINC software itself uses, but perhaps also only HTTP. But your server seems to, also the web server seems accepts HTTPS. That's for sure. So probably a task would be to check if everything would fine, if you would announce it in the Boeing client and on the Boeing page with the SSL, and then it's good. Then immediately your users are safer.
Yeah, no, that is a good idea. I'll definitely have a look into that.
Yeah, I'll write it also, and then I can mail you afterwards. This also as a list.
Yeah, thank you.
Some of the pictures aren't served over SSL as well, and that is causing a mixed content error on my stuff. For the record.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have to have a look into that too. Then.
We can talk more about this in the unofficial section or later on. Okay, thanks, Rhino.
Yeah.
The next question would be: did you ever have cheating, and what do you do against cheating? And I must say, of course, this is sensitive information, so I understand when you don't dive too much into it. Just we want to make sure you are checking stuff regularly, and what you do against it.
Well, the main thing that we are doing against cheating at the moment is because Boink has that mechanism inbuilt where it'll only allow one user to like process one part of a work unit. So how you have to send multiple work units out to different machines, and they will process them. Yeah, we have that set up so it'll only ever send one work unit to one user. So unless on the unfortunate off chance that we end up sending all 3 work units to like 3 different accounts, all owned by the same person. From that perspective, I think we're pretty good for cheating. I mean, we haven't had any instances of it so far. I think the closest to cheating that I've ever seen is people that have, before challenges, they've gone and queued up a huge amount of work units. I think that's been the closest to cheating that we've had. It's just people queuing up a lot and then reserving them and then all processing them at once.
Yeah, that's an issue, especially done in the challenge times. Then, as you say, exactly, bunkering. Users bunker and then deliver the results in the challenge time, so their team get a boost in the challenge.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something we can do about that. I think we can limit the maximum number of work units that any one person can have in progress. So, I mean, if people don't like that bunkering is possible, I'm more than happy to turn on that so people can only have a max number of work units.
Well, it depends on the liking of you admins, yeah. But personally, let's say in the challenge time, yeah, when you are aware, then it would be good probably to turn it off because it's fairer when everybody has the same chance, Yeah. But I can imagine. I mean, as an admin, you want your working units processed fast, yeah. So you probably like it when someone with a good machine, yeah, processes everything fast, yeah. So yeah, It's a mixture. What you want, what the users want, yeah. Yeah, as Custominer says, bunkering will potentially inappropriate to represent valid computation. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
As long as you validate that it's okay, yeah, and it's okay for your results, yeah, then for you it doesn't matter. It's just about being or including more of the population, the Boeing population, so to speak, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would just sort of reduce the dominance of a few people during the challenges because the people with more computers are going to be able to store up more work units.
Yeah, and you must also see it's a point of breakage, yeah, because if that guy who does a lot breaks one day away, yeah, and the others left it because they didn't get the work, yeah, then you are missing then out on future results which come in, yeah. Well. Yeah, this is nothing for yet to decide, just general thoughts, yeah. Yeah, please, you want to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, it's good to think about it because I can bring this up with our other admins and we can have a chat about it to see if we want to do something, to fix a few of these problems.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we do also challenges, so in that time it would be good. And this brings us to a next question about challenges. Do you have a preference for challenge time? Normally, Custom Miner sets these up, and they can go from 1 day to 1 week. Yeah, and if you want, we can also make special challenges for Skynet POGs. And how would you prefer it? I mean, do you prefer longer ones or shorter ones?
I don't have a personal preference. Long ones are fine, short ones are fine. I mean, as long as we'll have enough work units for the challenges, that's the main thing to make sure.
No, so would you like a 2 weeks advance notice, or for example, 2 days is also enough?
Probably a week's notice would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll make a task about this and talk to you later about challenge 1 week. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Good. Then the next questions require a little bit more knowledge about Boeing topics. Yeah. Before we dive into them, yeah, perhaps you want to tell a little bit about your background itself. Like, let me give some exemplary questions. Like, what field did you study in? Okay, you said you started 6 months ago in Skynet POGs, and the other question would be, were you already involved with distributive computing in your past already? Yeah, so basically the segment is about tell us please about yourself, yeah, how you got into all this, and yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm a computer science, games technology, and cyber forensics student. I've actually just finished up at uni last year. My graduation is actually later this month. It's actually in a couple of days.
Cool. Congrats.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I started working at ICRA, the Astronomy Institute, a couple years ago, back in 2014. And originally back then, I was still doing work on the Skynet, but I wasn't really an admin back then. I was sort of just doing odd jobs. So like if we had some problems with one of our applications, I'd come and sort of just do a bit of a code fix on it, that kind of stuff. But then a couple years later, in 2016, I got offered a paid position at ICRA, so I obviously took that. And then I was working on some other stuff to start with, but then sort of towards the half of the year, the other guy that was doing a lot of our website work, he actually ended up leaving. And then there was no one else to look after the Skynet POGs, and so that's when I took up that responsibility. And so now that's the main thing that I do there, is I'm administrating and managing all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Good. Thank you. Yeah, helpful.
I just posted a bunch of your GitHub links in the chat there, so everybody can have fun with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are more than welcome to look through all our source code.
Yeah, man, that's fun. That's Rayvon was asking for copies to poke through. There's definitely like a bunch of people that want to help you if they can here. Like, that's just kind of how everybody is here. It's pretty cool, man.
All right. Well, I certainly do appreciate any help that anyone wants to provide, any sort of advice, or open to anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now we have like 5 questions about Boeing topics itself. Let's see. Yeah. About do you have some knowledge, so for example, about the Boeing project governance?
I actually had never heard of it until this morning. Yeah. I'm sorry to say, I didn't know. And then I had a quick look, and
well, of course, I mean, it's not necessary, because the Boeing server runs without getting in contact with them. The Boeing clients run, so it's not necessary. It's just looking more into it or something like that. But it's not necessary for a normal Boeing admin, to get in touch with them or read about them. It's just, when a Boeing admin would have the experience or know them, we would like to ask more about it, and something like that. So we put it there.
Yeah. Well, I do think that Kevin, our other admin, has been in contact with David quite a bit. particularly concerning things to do with some of our wrapper stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I don't entirely remember.
Yeah, I remember from the CERN project, they also contact the main Boeing devs also regularly about issues they have. Yeah, it's probably easier for them when an experienced person from the code itself looks at it. I mean, from the who did
definitely.
it. Yeah. But as you mentioned, Kevin, Kevin perhaps can join later on. He said he was busy. Yeah, perhaps in the future he can make another interview.
Yeah, he probably could. I mean, I originally did suggest that he would be pretty good to come and appear on this because he generally likes doing this sort of public speaking type stuff. He's always got all these different spiels on things ready to go, you know. But yeah, unfortunately, he's on his way back from India at the moment, so yeah.
I was thinking we could do like series of certain projects if different admins wanted to show up at different times. Because it's not like everybody can be around at the same time, and you all have different opinions about what you might want to talk about and stuff like that. What's important to you, what you know. Yeah.
Well, I can have a chat with him in the next couple of days about it, see what he's interested in.
Cool.
Thanks. I think then I'll skip some of these questions. The other question would have been, you know, about the current Boeing's password hashing mechanism. If you looked at it, in short, it's currently the passwords are stored on the server as MD5. Yeah, it's insecure, and then there is a thread about it, a long thread basically how to improve it.
Yeah, I saw that.
So if you would have had the chance to look about it, what would be your opinion about it or suggestions? But and then the other question would have been, what are your views on priority, also highest priority issues regarding Boeing development? Yeah, so these are basically code related.
Yeah, well, I mean, the moment that you provided me that link to the password problem, because I wasn't actually aware of it either. But yeah, that's actually pretty worrying. That it would be possible just to have that all stolen so easily. I didn't realize they were still using just MD5 hashes for the passwords. I thought there would have been something a bit better than that. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say in terms of priorities, that should be their top priorities for the moment. In addition to that, I have noticed recently when I was setting up, like this is something that's a lot more minor in comparison to, you know, the possibility of people's passwords being stolen. But when I was setting up our recent source finder server, I noticed that the out-of-the-box Boink code has a whole bunch of errors, like for the website code. There's all sorts of, like I was getting an error message popping up on every page because I don't know, there was something wrong with what they'd done with the website. So that's something else I think they should get on to fixing too, especially for new Boink projects.
Yeah, some of the pages could use an update, like lots of the information isn't relevant anymore. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true. On the like on the
heat
on their wiki.
Yeah, the sub pages there. Like where you can get the FMR tasks and all that stuff. Yeah, there's some of the pages in there, like the Boink heating and cooling something, like heating your home with Boink, that page. That's like severely out of date. And then I went to try to update the wiki, and then it's like, oh, go here to help out and, you know, modify this stuff. And then it just became this labyrinth of authorizations and stuff. And I was just like, it's like Wikipedia times 10.
But anyway. Hold on, you said heating your home with Boink? I hadn't. I mean, I have recently been spending a lot of time on their wiki. I didn't realize they had a page about that.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's like a running joke, but I think some people actually do it.
Oh, well, I wouldn't be surprised if you had enough CPUs.
In countries where the gas would be cheaper than the electricity.
Ah. Wait, where the gas would be cheaper? Wouldn't you just use the gas if it was cheaper?
No, I mean, it's more expensive. But...
Yeah.
See? Rayvon says, I'd rather heat with my computers than with my electric heaters, so There you go, right there.
Well, I must admit, it does become a bit of a pain in summer, because the room in my home, because it's got my computer running in it. Oh god, it gets so hot. Because if I leave the computer and need to like sit down and watch TV or something, because Boink then starts up, it just warms the whole room up, and it's like a clear few degrees warmer than the rest of the house, you know. And when it's an Australian summer, that makes it really hot, really hot.
I was gonna look into Linus Tech Tips. He did a thing that I like thought of, and then he did it like 6 months later. I was like, holy shit! Kind of ran radiators through all of his computers, and then ran those outside along his house. Now I was thinking a cool mod with that would be run them into like you know how you have like beer counters outside, like beer taps. If you kind of had like an outdoor refrigeration system, so that when it was winter you could just open it up, when it was summer you could refrigerate it.
Thanks for the comment. Yeah, I'd like to, focus back on the project. And I wanted to read something. Customer said the old server guides, the Boeing server guides, are years old. And he has a recommendation that the Cosmology at Home developer Marius, he has a Docker repo, and there it's probably more up to date for that. And the second thing which you mentioned, Sam, was about the errors you had on the Boeing pages. I know when some of the requirements of the software is updated, for example, from PHP 5 to 7 or so, then there came some errors. So perhaps there it's also like that. Perhaps a newer version of the Boeing server software dependencies is more newer, and perhaps from that. But I'm sure, as for the issues you mentioned, Sam, and for Rhino's comments about the wiki, I'm sure on the GitHub page, on the bug tracker from Boeing, perhaps it exists. If not, people could report it there. And then it could get fixed. So also for future users, server admins.
Yeah, no, that's probably a good idea. I might have a look at that later, actually, just to see, now that you've mentioned it. Yeah.
Then the next question would be, Sam, what do you think about the monetization of Boeing computation?
I don't personally have a problem with it. If that's what people want to do, that's totally fine. Although to my knowledge, the original purpose of Boink wasn't to be monetized. It was meant to be a volunteer-based system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just interested in particularly about this, because how exactly do you go about monetizing Boink computation? Like, what do you mean when you say monetizing?
Well, one thing is the later part about, with Gridcoin you get a reward based on how much Boink work you have done. So this is one way. The other way, which was mentioned basically, is what you talked about heating your home, and then you get basically money back. But there's also, in the last interview, Customer said that there is a company which gives to the user to apartments, like a heater. And there is 4 CPUs, he said, is inside, and then they basically give the heater work, so it works, and that is a commercial project, because they give out the heaters, and feed it with work, so it's monetization. But
I guess
Customer has written something. He says, the Gridcoin rewards as mentioned, and then there's also projects like Drug Discovery at Home. They want to distribute crypto tokens to their users. And then there might be now commercial projects which we don't know yet about, which also utilize the Boink project. For example, who said that? A Boink admin said that inside BASF, that's a big chemical company in Germany, they also Jojo said that, that they use inside BASF also the Boink software itself. For he said, like the PCs of the workers from BASF at the night are not used, so they probably do some calculations on their work PCs at night, when it's not used. And this also immediately, because BASF is a company, it gives back in terms of money. But also we have currently World Community Grid, which is done by IBM. Yeah, so I'm sure they are also monetizing it, at least in terms of using the research. Yeah, at least in that point.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, that's, I mean, all the universities which use Boink definitely use it also for their research and get there then monetary benefits. Yeah, there are a few ways, yeah, to do it. Well, yeah, okay, let me stop. So you can perhaps give some feedback?
Yeah, I mean, the idea of sort of providing extra incentives too, because the way that it was said before, paying at least $1,000 a year for Boink. I mean, that's a pretty considerable amount, you know, and that's obviously money that people have to pay. So, having some sort of way of recouping that, not just in saying, oh, I feel happy because I've done work towards a good thing, but actually getting like some tangible recouping. That actually sounds pretty good. But I'm just out of interest, particularly with like the Gridcoin system, so you say you pay, or that there are payments given to users for completing work. So where does the money actually come from to pay them? Is that from like the project owner? Like, would that be from ICRA that will be paying the money, or how does that actually work?
It's so that Gridcoin is a cryptocurrency with a blockchain, yeah, and per day are created certain amounts of Gridcoins, and they are divided between the Boink projects which are whitelisted. Yeah, so we have currently 26, I think, whitelisted Boink projects. So each Boink project gets a certain amount per day, and then this is divided then among each project's Boink users, you know, like who does the most work. Also based on the percentage they get then for each project which is daily done, they get it. Yeah, it's basically automated and done already. So no one basically gives it. The thing with coins is, yeah, they basically at the very beginning, or let's say they have no value. The users gives them value. Like for example, like with the normal money, the state gives its value. Or for example, in the case of coins, bitcoins, and so the value is basically decided on the exchanges. Current value, you see it there. But then there are also, you know, the special thing about Gridcoin is that the value comes also from it that people trust it, because the energy is not wasted like in Bitcoin's case. You know, in Bitcoin the computation is done, and you get your coin, but the energy is wasted. But in Bitcoin you do the Boink work, and it's actually something good, and people trust it, and they think that the opportunity of the coin is much higher, especially since not so many Boink users, I mean from the percentage of whole Boink users which are out there are using it actually. So there is some potential that it will grow much more in the future. And what I wanted to say is that the value of a coin is basically decided on exchanges or from the state or something like that, but also from its usefulness. And that was what I wanted to say with the Boink works. Instead of wasting energy, they are doing something helping the universities and so with the research. So basically, to answer your question again, there is a daily amount of Gridcoins created, and this is divided among the Boink workers and Boink users for each project.
Concerning the Gridcoins, so people do computations for various Boink projects, and then they're just given Gridcoins for doing that, based on the amount that they do. Okay. All right. Well, that sounds pretty good. So I might have a talk with a few other people at ICRA, maybe some of our financial people, about what we can do with that. If there's anything we need to do.
There is also an upcoming project by Customer. It's called Project Rain, and there it's, for example, like that.
Okay.
You can give a user, as a Boink users, also cryptocurrency. Must not be Gridcoin, can also be other coins. This is one thing. But what you already can do in Gridcoin is you can rain also to your Boink users. If you we can give you the tools for that, or you can ask someone how to do it, and then he can show it to you. You can just Yeah, Customer just posted it. This is the upcoming project, which will come, but it's still delayed because of this one hashing bug from Boink. Yeah, Customer wants to make it sure, and he waits still until this bug gets fixed. Yeah, but at the moment, you could also, there is a Python script with which any Boink admin or any, let's say, sponsor or donator, yeah, can rain on Boink users from the team Gridcoin, and then it would be also like that they would get, based on their work done, the rain is divided, yeah, between them. So let's say if you talk with your colleagues, yeah, and then they say, yeah, we'd like to reward our users for all the help they have done, yeah, then you could contact us, we could give you the scripts, yeah, or tell you how it works and everything, yeah, and then you could say, okay, let's give them, I don't know what it is, just a random number, 200,000 Gridcoins or whatever, yeah, whatever you decide as dollars or Australian dollars, yeah, and then the equivalent, yeah, so that's possible, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have a talk with a few other people about that. I think that actually sounds like a good idea.
Well, it's a good thing to bind the community to yourself, because, but of course, if it gets out, you know, that you, for example, that's always with marketing issues. Yeah, you have to do marketing issues, especially with a warning saying this is a one-time offer. Yeah, or depending on what you want. Otherwise, people always expect it. Yeah, and the other thing is now when money is involved, then also, let's say let's say people who look only on the money, they would also come, yeah, and then they want it, and then they do the work, and then your current project supporters who believe in it, yeah, they would get less work, and then, you know, they are unhappy perhaps about it. So it's always, yeah, you have to figure out which is the way. But I think making a one-time payment is good, because it would definitely help the current people, the current users who support you, yeah.
Yeah.
And then future ones, I mean, you can still do it, yeah, but if you do it irregularly, yeah, you make really sure that your supporters, your current supporters really get it, yeah. That's, from my view, a benefit, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about the cost versus benefits in the long run. Just, yeah.
Sam, before being contacted for this session, did you hear about Gridcoin?
No, I didn't know about it until this morning when I first started having a look at the question.
Yeah. Did you have some other experience with other currencies like Bitcoin, for example, already?
Well, a few years ago, I did do some Bitcoin mining for a very short period of time, just using my graphics card. And I did also run a Dogecoin miner for a bit too. That was fun.
Okay, yeah, then it's already good. Then you can you understand already the topics from here. Well, so since we talked a little bit already about Gridcoin, what do you think of Gridcoin? Yeah, or is there anything that pops up in your mind already that could be done better or added?
Well, I mean, the ability to give monetary rewards to people for doing work, I think, is fine. Of course, I can't really comment on any of sort of like the technical specifics of it, but it sounds like you guys are doing a great job already.
Sam, do you know if your project would allow Gridcoin donations, or, for example, a donation button on your website, so that users who want to sponsor your Skynet POGs with money, also coins in this so that they can easily, you know, give you Gridcoins, which you can then, for example, could either use for server upgrades, yeah, or redistribute back to your crunchers?
I think it sounds like a good idea. I certainly like it, although because I'm doing work on behalf of ICRA, I couldn't add any sort of I can't do anything regarding money without first checking it with some other people at ICRA first. I like the idea personally, but it just depends on basically the bureaucracy of it, because ICRA works at the University of Western Australia, so it depends on what they would say for it.
Yeah,
you know.
I expected also that you first discuss it with others, but basically there are two approaches. You could either, I mean, if the decision is done, saying, yeah, we want also such a donation button or address, then there are two ways. Either, you could just give a Gridcoin address on your page, on your Skynet POGs page, and then people could just send the money to there, just with Bitcoins, the same with Gridcoins, which you know already. Or you could there is also a service provider, Coin Payments. This is a little bit more better. I think they also offer more services. Then you could just make a button, people click on it, and then they can more it in a more comfortable way. But if you say, I want to make it secure, then you just make a static address, because that's just a text file in your HTML pages, a text, and there is no security issue with it at all. There would also not be a security issue with the coin payments, but, adding just a small text is so much simpler than something else, So there are two ways which I wanted to say, the static address or the coin payments, and then we can give you information there how to do that, So if you can just relay the idea, and then we can be contacted and can help you more in how you want to do it.
No, I will. I definitely will. I'll go talk to some people about it and see what we can do. So
good. The next question would be, there is the Boink team requirement. There are lots of teams on Boink, and do you think having this team requirement, is it helpful for Gridcoin or Boink teams? I think since you don't know Gridcoin, I'll tell you a little bit more. The Gridcoin users, they can only get the coins when they are in the team Gridcoin. If they, for example, are in the Skynet POGs Australia team, they wouldn't get it. So the requirement is that they are in the Gridcoin team. But the thing is that there are a lot of teams, and normally Boink users are attached to their teams, and they are perhaps reluctant to switch to the Gridcoin team, So basically, this is the background to it. And what do you think? Do you think having the people switch to one team, leaving their old teams is a good thing, a bad thing?
Well, I wouldn't think that people would want to leave their old teams. I mean, because as you said, they get attached to them. But ultimately, it's up to them. I mean, if they feel like leaving their team and then joining another one where they get extra benefits, that's up to them. Unless there was a way, of course, that you could still offer the Gridcoin service without having to have them in the team. That would, of course, be the other thing.
We talked about that too. This Project Rain talked about merge mining and things like that.
With the Project Rain, it's basically possible to give the coins also to people who are not in the team Gridcoin, So this is one thing. The other thing, we have also internally discussions about removing the team requirement, but it has then, it will bring up new issues. First, then suddenly we have a lot of users, and then the processing of the data, but also, that the whitelisted projects are normally get a lot of attention from the Gridcoin users. So when people now would get money or the Gridcoins easier, so to say, it may be that perhaps some Boink projects are then flooded and DOSed. Also not DOSed in a bad by hackers, but by the sheer amount of new users that would try to crunch the projects, because they would now get money. So there are software issues to think about, but also then issues about the masses then which come, and we have to tackle all these, and then it may be possible to make it to a broader Boink users instead of just switching to the Gridcoin team.
Well, would it be possible for you to whitelist users on a different basis instead of having user teams? Like, could you have users sign up for some sort of a Gridcoin account elsewhere and then, say, have that email address tied to it or something? So instead of having them in a team, they just sign up by email address?
At the moment it's not possible, but there are also ideas like, that the users include in their names Gridcoin, at the end, and then this could be found out. If you make a split and then you see it easily. there are ideas, but the thing is that our current developer is against it. Yeah, so it's a little bit.
Okay.
But this is one thing. But there are also problems which I mentioned, which will also come then. Yeah, and then it will be bad, when it said Gridcoin has crashed the Boeing project. Yeah, so yeah, I think it might change. Yeah, depending on how it goes. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have the questions from the template done. I have here some questions which I didn't add yet time-wise. Sam, would it be possible, or let's start otherwise. For example, on Saturday we had 2 Boeing admins from Yo-Yo and Citizen Science Grid, and they offered that they'd help if someone wanted to do a Boeing project, but they are not so well versed in server administration or so, then they said, if you give us the source code, for the Boeing application, I could run it also on my project, basically, as a sub project, So they offered it.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to ask if something like that would also be possible for Skynet POGs, or.
Well, from a technical perspective, yes, certainly. Although, again, because we of course have to pay for our servers, I'd still have to talk to other people to see if the payment could be, if we could pay for other people to run servers in our name, kind of thing. I'm not entirely sure if the university would be happy with doing that.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think they tend to want to keep it in-house, kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand. But for example, we can now combine this question with another question. I mean, do you, for example, make in the university like posts to other departments and say, hey, we have experience now running this Boeing server. It helps us a lot with computation, 5 teraflops or so. We get always, and then that you could offer them, hey, if you want to also use something like that, we can set up the project for you. Is there such an initiative already by you for your own university's departments?
No, I don't think so. To my knowledge, we're the only one that actually uses Boink at the moment at UWA. I'm not entirely sure. I could be wrong. But I think, the Astronomy Institute is the only one at UWA that's using Boink currently. And I don't think any of the other departments have a need for it. Because we're the only ones dealing with huge amounts of data, because it's all astronomy data. But I don't know, if something else came up, say, in the physics department, if they needed to set up some Boink stuff, there's no reason why we couldn't help them out for it.
Yeah, most often it just needs a first push, that people know it. Otherwise, they would perhaps not know it and not think of it. But so it might be an idea, to just announce it somewhere. The other question would be, do you personally Boink? I mean, because you run the Boink server, So do you Boink your own projects, or for example, do you also say, I like, for example, SETI, and I also personally at home crunch SETI work units?
I do run Boink on my own computer. At the moment, I'm only running POGs. But that's basically been just so I can test things, really, just to make sure everything works correctly. But then I've sort of just left our POGs project running. I think the main reason that I don't regularly Boink is because normally whenever I'm home using my computer, I'm using it, sort of thing. So I don't normally have it on when I'm not here. So I fear I'd sort of take work units and then sort of waste them. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I prefer not to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Personally.
Then the last question, which I have from the template, is, the Gridcoin team is having regular conference calls like this. The next one would be on February 18th. It's a Saturday. Also for us, it's a Saturday. For you, it's Sunday. So I wanted to invite you to this one, to this one or other ones. Yeah, I'll give you a link, and then perhaps you want to show up with further information. So basically, when you have in the future information, yeah, and you don't want to make such a long session, you could also just pop up in the regular session and then say, yeah, we have quick news, this and this, yeah, and then you could broadcast it over our regular meetings.
Yeah, well, if you want to keep me up to date with information on whenever these are happening, I could probably pick some that I'd be able to come to. The only problem would be is, of course, because of time zones, a lot of the time this would be at like 2 or 3 a.m. for me, and that does make it a bit difficult.
Well, if you want, you can also, we announce the meeting 2 weeks before normally, and then, for example, you have a Steemit account, yeah, you could also post a message to the announcement, and then we can read it out. You can say, can you please read this out, and then we can read out your message. That's also good.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea, yeah. Okay, sure. Well, if you want to keep me up to date with it, we'll see what happens.
I'll send you later an email with the tasks I've already written down, and then... So,
yep.
Basically, with the questions from the template, I'm through. Yeah. So now is an open floor. If, for example, Sam, if you want to add some more information about certain aspects about your project, this is now the time, or the other audience can also ask questions now to Sam.
Yeah. Well, I'm open to any questions if anyone has anything they'd like to ask me.
I have one.
Okay.
Yep.
Who picked the most evil name possible for a distributed computing network project?
Who picked the most evil name?
Yeah, Skynet. You never seen Terminator movies?
No, I have, yeah. No, that was definitely the running joke there when we picked the Skynet. It was certainly a reference to the Terminator movies.
Cool.
Except in our case, it was a sky of galaxies as opposed to... an artificial intelligence that would destroy the Earth. Back in 2016, I was doing a project where I was using machine learning, and that was still under the Skynet too. So there was an AI project that was done under the Skynet. So, make of that what you will.
Yeah.
Scary stuff, man.
Well, yeah. I mean,
don't worry, it was very benign.
Yeah, but the reference, based on the astronomy is there, so people will understand it. Well, if there are no further questions, then I like to thank Sam Foster for visiting us. And also
thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. And the whole Skynet team, they are an initiative of the International Center for Radio Astronomy Research, a joint venture of Curtin University and the University of Western Australia. Thank you, everybody, for coming today to this session. Have a nice time. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
Excellent, thank you.